Hello, and welcome to the Cultivating Confidence podcast. I am your host, Dr. Nicole Grams. I am a life coach who specializes in anxiety, health, and human design. And I also happen to be a functional medicine pharmacist. This podcast is a compilation of conversations that I've had with clients and colleagues. So listen in as we explore the mind, body, and soul's confidence in its many forms.
So, what's been coming up in my life and my clients lately, which is so funny. Do you notice that there's a lot of synchronicities with, what's going on with your clients on any given day, and different clients in the same day where it seems like, or for a certain day or a week, there's a theme that everyone's feeling, yourself included.
Yeah.
And right now I feel like the theme is all on being okay, giving yourself permission to quit or to change your mind or to change directions away from what you said you would originally do. Is that a theme for you right now too?
Yeah, I'm switching over to a new marketing platform. I'm getting a new website.
creating
a whole new persona, made a new logo. I'm kind of buffering in for a minute, it felt like I was kind of buffering to avoid what I getting myself out there. But going into this new adventure, I don't know, it feels much more aligned. And because I struggled through it the first time, I already know kind of what I'm doing, and it feels much better. And yeah, switching over to this new thing, it the people that are running it are just incredible. And there's a whole support group and all kinds of tutorials that I didn't get before. So I'm very happy
But you wouldn't know, isn't it interesting that you appreciate that so much now because of what you experienced before?
Right.
And it takes a little bit, you signed up for the first thing and you're like, okay, this is it. And I want to see this through.
Right.
But to stop, to stop a project and change directions, that can be tough, especially for those of us that tend to, like to stick to our word, right?
Right.
I said I was going to do this. I made this commitment. I've got to see it through.
Yeah. And then there's a fine line, especially as a coach. I understand that it's your thoughts that create your reality. So, all right, well, why are my thoughts so shitty, basically, about what's going on? And it's well, no, I can coach myself and this can be a good situation, or I could quit and start something new that feels exciting, and then it's this, well, am I giving up or am I making a decision that's right for me?
The giving up. Yes. Yeah. Nobody likes a quitter.
Yeah.
Right. All those sayings that, nope, you got to stick it out, take one for the team, see it through, don't quit. But shit changes. Life happens.
Right.
And sometimes the choice that you need, to follow your heart, to follow your truth means quitting.
Yeah.
To change directions, to start something new, to start something completely over, to throw, the old project away and start from scratch all over again. It's never too late to start over, to change your mind. And what's been coming up with my clients this week is being okay with that, accepting that, and giving yourself permission to do so, and to ignore, the old stories, the old thoughts around, oh, but I've always done what I said I was going to do. I've always seen my projects through completion. I said I was going to do this for this long. I can't leave early. I can't quit early. It's all about giving yourself freedom to make the choice that's right in your heart right now.
Yeah.
And if that changes, the world is constantly changing. We're constantly evolving. Our surroundings, everything is constantly, that's the only constant thing in the world, right, is change.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're not willing to let ourselves kind of move with the flow of this life and the changes, then we're just hurting ourselves.
Yeah. So what has helped me during this whole transition, and I actually got coaching on it, as sort of a celebration, kind of, instead of I need to change my thoughts. It was I'm actually feeling really good about all the decisions that I've been making. And for me, when I decided, what if I just took the judgment out of this? What would I decide to do? Like, I want a whole fresh start. Like, this is my opportunity with a new platform. Like, if I put my old website, if I put my current website up on that new platform, it would be down until I have something up. Like, I don't want that. So I have to have a placeholder at least, but like, it's just like, if I'm not judging myself, what do I want to do? Yeah, I'll take this opportunity to get a fresh start. All right. I wanted to redesign some stuff anyway. Now's my opportunity, and it feels so much better. Like the color palette, even the fonts, like, oh my gosh.
Once you
like,
give
I'm
yourself
so
that freedom, doesn't like nothing beats that freedom of making a choice from your heart and not, you know, the logic and the influence of your head and anybody else's. I had to write that down, what you said. What if I took the judgment out of this? What would I do? That is a great question. I feel like that should be the highlight of this discussion. In any aspect of your life, anybody listening to this, what if you took the judgment out of your current situation? What would you do? If you weren't judging yourself, if you weren't afraid of, you know, if other people weren't judging you, which in most cases they're really not. We just assume that they are.
Everybody's too focused on themselves to be worrying about you all the time.
Everyone's worried about their own judgment, right?
And on the opposite side of that coin, everybody's always judging you. That's their job. So what do you want them to judge you for? For taking risks and living in alignment with yourself, or for being scared to make the changes that you need to take? Make. Right. Words are hard right now.
I feel like they always are for me. Much better writing than speaking, but I love, like, that's the beauty of this too. Like, this is just raw and real. Like, coach to coach, friend to friend, human to human. None of us are perfect. No. And that's what's perfect about it, right? Yeah. And the more we can be real and talk, I know we've laughed before too, even over the quality of these videos. So it didn't record in the right format. Is that? No. It's raw and
that's
real.
Not a problem unless you make it a problem.
Exactly. Did we remove the judgment from that situation? We posted anyways. Right?
We're getting ourselves out there, and it's messy, and it's supposed to be. What if it's supposed to be?
What if it's interesting? I love that too. What if it's supposed to be messy?
Yeah.
How does that settle for people? When we're thinking, you know, oh my gosh, I need to make my life perfect and it all needs to be in order because then that's the only way to happiness. What if it's supposed to be messy? Clearly, I mean, I don't think anyone that could, you know, listen to this could say that they have never had a messy situation in their life. Well, like, that is life.
It's something messy. That I ask my clients a lot is like, so you feel like whatever, like, so you feel disappointed right now. What if you knew that you had to feel disappointed 7 times in order to reach your goal, and you're only at 2 and you're ready to give up, right? Like, what if you just sank into this thought and this feeling and just let it be exactly what it is, and learn how to feel this feeling without beating yourself up, without throwing in the towel, without giving up on yourself? Like, have your own back and understand that you're going to feel human emotions. What if you need to feel this 10 more times in order to make this one small thing work? Do you want it bad enough to experience this negative emotion that many more times? And for me, I don't know how many times I need to feel disappointed with myself or my decisions or whatever, but like, I'm getting much better at having my own back and moving through that faster. So the more times I experience it, the better I'm getting at it, the less it sucks to feel crappy.
Right. It's like building that muscle of your own, you know, of self-confidence, of really, I talk a lot and like building that spiritual muscle of like listening, trusting, following your heart and not your head, and just keep moving forward and sitting through the feelings, like letting yourself feel the feels and not letting the failures defeat you. Right. It made me think, as you're saying that, you know, how many of the most famous people in history, have you read anything on how many times they failed before they made their breakthroughs? Mm-hmm. And a lot of them didn't make breakthroughs until later on in life.
Yeah.
But now, how are we in this society that's like telling us, oh, you need to figure out what you're going to do with your career and get married and have kids by the time you're 25?
Yeah.
Your brain's not even fully developed until then. Are you kidding me? You're not supposed to have your life figured out by then in your 20s. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, you're not supposed to ever have your life figured out. I don't think.
That's
like trick. A freeing thought for me. Like, I don't have to have it figured out. I'm not supposed to.
Never will,
and
right? We'll never have it all figured out.
Like, I think social media is doing us all kind of an injustice, especially because you can delete posts that don't perform well as a creator, you know, those sorts of things. There was a creator that I follow, she's got millions of followers, but she's like, please, all of you who are creating content, please stop deleting the ones that don't do well. Because when somebody goes to your page and sees only the viral videos and they think, oh my gosh, this didn't work the first time I did it, I better quit. Right? Like, by deleting the stuff that doesn't do as well, you're holding other people back, because they start to judge themselves when they don't do as well. Like, oh, you can't see this part of me, even though that might be the most real, raw, authentic you that your followers need to see in order to reach out to you for help in whatever capacity you help them with, you know?
Exactly. I mean, isn't it so interesting too that we live in a world, you know, on social media where like that's what's important, how many people, you know, like a post or a video or what have you, and that's how we've become like conditioned to gauge our success.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, another thing to think about too, if you have millions of followers, do you know any of these people? You know, who cares if you have less followers? Odds are likely that you actually personally know these people or have made more intimate connections with these people, even if you haven't met in person. It's not about the quantity of the feedback, it's the quality of your feedback. If you can reach one person and make a lasting impact on that post that maybe nobody liked, but one person saw it, maybe they didn't click the like button, they just saw it. Remember that too, how many people don't actually, you know, like click on it and say it, but they're seeing it. It's affecting them. You're planting the seeds. You're helping people that aren't making it clear that you're helping. But if you could help that one person that didn't like, that didn't respond, that didn't do anything, but they took what you had to say and it really helped them get through their day, or to be able to step up and make a choice for themselves, to help them let go of the judgment and live freely for themselves, then your job is done. Why do we need, you know, these numbers on social media to validate whether or not what you're sharing is, you know, helpful or not?
Yeah, it's looking for that external validation. And yeah, it's certainly fun to get it sometimes, but when you rely on it for your self-worth, that's when we run into trouble.
Right. And then it shifts, you know, notice it's very tempting, you know, we're both on social media and sharing things. And like, I'm sure we all feel it, you know, when one post goes out and it gets a lot of great feedback and you're like, awesome, what did I do? And then you put the next one and like nothing really happens. You're like, oh no, what did I do? It can be tempting to like shift how you present yourself, right? To want to please, but then it gets less authentic, right? Then we step away from our realness, and then what are we doing? If the intention to share things becomes to please people instead of helping people, you know, then it just shifts the whole content altogether. So again, let go of the judgment. What if you removed all judgment from anything you shared or post or said to anyone and just did it anyway?
Especially like energetically with social media, and different platforms have different versions of this, but it's not about the words that you're saying. Like, you and I could have the same script to deliver and we're going to attract completely different people off of it because of how we say it and what we emphasize and what energy we are bringing to it. So who are you being when you're delivering that message to people is more important than what you're saying.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. So how would you be if you let go of all judgment, if you took all the judgment out of it, out of every action? Kind of circling back to how we started and just in changing directions in life. So not even necessarily about how you're posting. I mean, that's a great food for thought and definitely, I'm sure, relevant for anybody that sees this because you're on social
even
media.
Even if you're not a creator.
Right? But in any aspect of life. So for example, you know, like signing up for different organizations or volunteering for things and then realizing, oh, wait, no, this isn't fulfilling me in the way that I thought it would. But feeling obligated to stick it out and kind of take one for the team, right? Suck it up and see it through completion, finish what you said you would. Sometimes, you know, they always say sometimes the right choice is the hardest choice. And sometimes that hardest choice, but the right choice is to listen to your heart and to change directions.
Yeah.
to be a quitter, right? And to let go of what's not serving you right now so that you can step forward into something that does feel good for you.
Yeah.
Which pulls us into this conflict between the head and the heart.
Right.
How did we create this story in our mind of like, I have to do these things? You know, I can't disappoint others. I must see this through completion. I must stick it out as long as I said I would. But when you feel that discontent, that unease in going through those motions, I mean, that's just your heart calling, like, honey, you're not listening to your heart. Your truth, your high self is operating over here, and you're on some other level listening to your head. And the discomfort we feel is only that disconnect, right? That difference in vibration. And what it takes to get, you know, to feel good and get on that high vibration is listening to your heart. And that is not always the easiest thing to do.
No.
To put ourselves first, to be selfish, to potentially disappoint someone else for not doing what they wanted us to do, is the right choice.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure we've all experienced it, you know, doing something we didn't want to do, but we did it to please someone else. And we thought, oh, it'll feel good to make them happy. Yeah. And maybe it briefly makes them happy.
But are you losing out in the process?
Yeah. Are you feeling drained? Are you exhausted? What time, you know, how much time and energy did you put into this that was not serving you? And then you can often end up feeling worse afterwards. And then regretting, you know, why didn't I just do what I wanted to do?
Yeah.
And how many people live their entire life that way, not giving themselves permission to do just that. So I really love that. I mean, I feel like that question will bring that home, hit it home. And I'm going to be sharing this all over the place too with my clients, just reminding them, asking, what if you took the judgment out of the situation? What would your heart do?
Yeah. Step into your higher self. What advice do they have for you?
Exactly.
Or, I mean, even not even just asking for advice from them, but like embodying your higher self in your mind. Just close your eyes and it's possible to do that and to make decisions from a place of knowing. It's really powerful.
And trusting that. I really love, I mean, just watching you, like I started closing my eyes too, like, oh, that does feel really good. Because sometimes just that physical act of closing your eyes to like physically shut out the external distractions, right? Like you're seeing that we tend to seek the external validation, right? What better way to shut that down for a moment than to close your eyes and literally go inward and listen to your heart? So I think that's just a perfect way to end this discussion.
Well, I guess I wanted to add one quick thing about like your higher self and making decisions. Like it really taps into human design and following your design and what's your authority. Like for me, for example, with me switching over this platform and getting a new website and everything, I knew that like even just picking the look of it, there's like 25 different options and I'm like, okay, which one's the best for me? And I went through, to follow my design, I have emotional authority. So that means that I don't really have truth right now, truth and clarity right now, even when it feels like it. I have to give myself time. So I went through and I looked and I, you know, thought about it really hard. I wrote down my choice. I circled it. I made notations about why I like this and why I didn't like the other thing. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to use my authority now. I'm going to table this. I'm going to go home. I'm going to eat dinner. I'm going to come back to it. And coming back to it was when I had the clarity of, yep, this is the right one. Because sometimes it's very much like, oh, let me dive in. And then it's like, no. But for me and my emotional authority, I can't make that decision right now and know that it's in alignment with myself because I get so excited.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. I always say, like, before I make any major decision or take any major action, I always like to sleep on it. So, or like to separate, right? I think ending on that point too, you know, because for so many, it can be difficult. Like, oh my gosh, if I make this change and do all of these things, you know, it can be really overwhelming because then you start getting too forward into the future of like, okay, and then I have to do all these things. And if you're on the fence, you're really feeling conflicted between the head and the heart, give yourself some space to close your eyes, to meditate, to listen, give yourself that space, that silence to listen to your heart. I always say sleep on it for a night. If you need, give yourself some space to go take a walk, go do something completely different for a minute. And you'll be surprised, right, by that clarity that comes when you do return, feeling like after giving yourself that space to refresh, kind of reset, clear the slate, focus on something else for a bit, move your body, like get in the sunshine, whatever you need to do, to take a nap, to sleep over it overnight, and allow, just invite that clarity to come in.
Yeah. And get rid of the pros and cons list, slip into your body. What does your body feel like?
Yes. And trust it.
Yeah.
Your intuition, your highest self always knows the right answer.
Yeah. And even when it doesn't work out the way you think it will, what can you take from it? What can you learn from it?
Absolutely. There's a lesson in every experience. I always like to say there's a golden nugget hidden in every experience, no matter how tragic or miserable. And trust me, I've been through a lot of them.
Yeah.
And from loss, death and tragic accidents, it took a lot of work, but I've been able to find the little golden nuggets of lessons within that. And that's what I've used to step out of, that darkness and those places of feeling trapped in judgment and, I must do all of these things. And I limited myself from listening to my heart. But the more you can look for those, consider it like a little game, a little challenge. Where is the lesson hidden here? Where is that golden nugget hidden that I can really use to help me step forward and create a better situation? Mm-hmm. It's all in your heart. Your heart already knows the answer of the best route for you to take. It's just allowing yourself to listen and to trust it. What would happen if you removed the judgment?
Beautiful.
Your heart would be able to speak and guide the way.
Yeah.
So give it a try. I'm going to be working on that. I mean, we're all working. It's a constant evolution, right? We're always working at it. That judgment, it's going to creep in. The mind will creep in with its judgments, its worries, and all the fear, but it's just a practice of recognizing it and making the conscious choice to remove. What if I take this judgment out? Yeah. What would I do? Awesome. Well, with that, let's just leave it with that question. What are you going to do today? What can you do to remove the judgment? And where will your heart lead you with that today? And if you're unsure of where to go, if you feel like you need some more support and guidance, feel free to contact me or Nicole anytime. That's what we're living this life for, is to support and help others through this journey. Because like we said, it's messy. It's going to be messy. It's a one heck of a wild ride, and it's going to continue. And what can we do but help shine light and support each other through it? So reach out to us anytime. Feel free to share your comments, your feedback. And until next time, we'll see you soon.
Thank you for taking the time to listen in today. Many of you will be able to take the ideas that you've heard and apply them in your daily life, and that's really all you need. That's amazing. But for those of you who could use a little one-on-one help with how to make these things actually work for you in your real life, please reach out. The link to schedule a consult with me is in the show notes. You don't have to do this alone. See you soon.